Expert Insights with Welu, Sue Woodard here, and we are talking top priorities of the best run financial brands post-COVID, such as it is. And it's not all about technology, is it, Joe?
Well, it's, technology, a lot of times people talk about innovation and technology, and there's another part to that, obviously, and it's you have to force the adoption and force the change, the behavior change inside organizations. And so if I look at the three top priorities that we see as themes for many of the leaders at the best run companies, you've got staying more connected and driving deeper connections with your customers, taking better care of your customers than you ever have been for customer loyalty, right? Making sure that's important. And then creating more efficiencies in the business and optimizing, because ultimately when you're in a period of contraction, you have to prioritize, you have to evaluate where your ROI is. It's always been important, but it is just more magnified in a period of contraction, right? And then the third core priority is accelerating that innovation.
Right. And I think some of that has happened, whether people were ready or not.
That's right.
They really got to roll up their sleeves and kind of dive in to some of these things and accelerate. I know we've done the same here at Total Expert, right? We're really, moving forward some initiatives really quickly.
Really quickly, and it has actually, in many cases, proven what people and companies are capable of when they are forced to make change. As an example, I was reading an article, and one of the top 5 banks actually rolled out a brand new portal, did not have this before, to help with the payment protection program loans that are sponsored by the government. And so they built and deployed a portal within days. They partnered, of course, with a tech company, and that project would have taken them 2 years before.
Yep.
And so then you look at that, and you also look at innovation. People think about, most of us are guilty of this, to where we think about innovation, it's like, oh, I'm going to buy a new technology, and that's innovation. That's only one part of it. Yeah. Then you have to force the change. You have to force the adoption. Yep. So we see people re-engaging with us on different projects that maybe they didn't want to focus on earlier, but now we're like, wait a second, we've got this functionality, let's actually use it more. Right. And so I think you're seeing that across the board.
Well, and I think just given the environment that we're in, there's also a lot of digital applications that are being forced, partly because we're going to be in a little different world when we think about serving people as financial institutions. There is going to be a bigger call for more things to be more digital. And to your point, we're going to have to make these shifts pretty quickly, right?
Very quickly.
And so even think about some of the things you've currently seen about how can banks and credit unions and mortgage companies serve their customers without it being a face-to-face, let's touch each other's hands interaction. Yeah. They're changing how they're doing things. They're innovating and doing so quickly using digital technology.
Yeah, so if I think about marketing and innovation, under marketing is communication, engagement. So it's just even more magnified than ever before that those two things are critical and will be ultimately the biggest drivers in the success that many brands have. And so, the three priorities that we've talked about, obviously, to recap, has been, taking care of the customer, right? More than you ever have, loyalty. And then, of course, efficiencies, driving efficiencies and optimizing all areas of the business, fine-tuning it. And then accelerating innovation.
Yeah. And you know what I love, Joe, is I think they all tie together so well. Because I think if you're really being innovative and you're really adopting some of these, whether it's technologies or digital changes that you're making in your business, it helps you take care of that customer and build that loyalty in an efficient way.
Yeah, it does. Right? And I think the cool part about so much of this, and we always talk about what are the positives that we can take away, right? You can look at, you've got really, we talked about this before, but you've kind of got 2 types of companies and really almost 2 types of people that you see in this environment. You have the people that are living a lot of fear and sort of organizations that do the same and kind of sit under the desk for the next year, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got the ones that are saying, wait a second, there's tremendous opportunity. What are the positives here? And putting a whole new sense of urgency on those priorities, on that top 3 priorities, in my opinion, this is the perfect time to do
Yeah.
that, to apply that urgency.
Yep. And if you talk to any leader, we have the opportunity to talk to so many amazing leaders. They all say that a turning point in their business and their life and their growth came around a time of crisis where they took advantage of an opportunity and they ran towards the opportunity instead of running away and hiding under the desk.
Yeah, and I think that's such a great point. And I think some of the articles that I read one the other day about from an investor that I follow, and it was about the regrets that business leaders had after the last 2 recessions, and one of them is the one that was consistent across the board was not changing faster.
Oh.
Right.
That's an interesting
So
point.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
My favorite takeaway from this whole series from both of you, Joe and Sue, is if any of this seems impossible, difficult, or impossible to take on, you just did.
You just did.
Just did.
That's right.